Be sure to subscribe and click on the bell for notifications on future uploads. Hello everyone, Simon Bard here, or you can call me Sully. Well, 2023 isn't just Disney's 100th anniversary, it's also the 100th anniversary of Warner Brothers. And I'll be doing the same thing here by reviewing movies and topics from their library. And I figured to start things off by reviewing two of their DC movies, in which both films have sequels coming out, with Shazam! Fury of the Gods now out in theaters, and Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom coming in December. The first one is in fact the first DC movie production of the Warner Bros. Owned studio New Line Cinema. Released on April 5th, 2019, it is the original Captain Marvel, 3 decades before Marvel's version, Shazam. Director David F. Sandberg had done a nice job of making a superhero action comedy based on the DC character created by C.C. Beck and Bill Parker, with nice characters, a nice story, and fun effects. It's one of those superheroes I rarely heard about when growing up, and this film introduced me to him. As it's about a teenage boy named Billy Batson, who while trying to find his long-lost mother in Philadelphia, gets taken in by a foster family living in a group home. Billy has issues adjusting to it, but while being chased by 2 school bullies and escapes in a subway, he's transported to the Rock of Eternity, where a wizard grants him his magic to become his champion with the power of the Greek gods by saying his name, Shazam. Thus, Billy turns into a superhero, but still with his teenage mind in an adult body. And he and his foster brother Freddie Freeman test out his superpowers, and Freddie films them for his YouTube channel, and takes the advantage of being an adult. All the while, the villain, Dr. Thaddeus Savannah, takes the magic eye from the Rock of Eternity, bringing the 7 deadly sins with him, and goes out to take Shazam's power. So it's basically the superhero equivalent to Big. But as much as I was liking the film, I couldn't quite enjoy it as much as other people did. Don't get me wrong, there are stuff that I do like, and even laugh at. In fact, there's plenty of moments that I either laughed at, chuckled, or smirked at. Billy as Shazam testing out his superpowers or Freddy or just showing them off is fine, yet my favorite part of his showing off power is when he shoots lightning from his hands to the tune of Eye of the Tiger by Survivor, saying, "Hands! Lightning from my hands! Lightning from my hands!" That got a good smile and or chuckle from me. Some of the laughs I got includes when Shazam hits a criminal too hard in saving a woman when she didn't need help, Shazam throwing 2 robbers out of a convenience store after they shoot his bulletproof face and then laughing and seriously saying, "You're dead," a reference to the movie Big that doesn't end well for Shazam. And when Shazam confronts Savannah near the end, as Savannah makes a speech, Shazam can't hear him because they're too far away from each other. The film's set during the Christmas season, making it a non-Christmas film, which adds a neat touch, and that includes songs such as Do You Hear What I Hear and I'll Be Home for Christmas, a Santa Claus who's always paranoid and dropped a few F-bombs during a newscast that's censored on TV, which is alright, but not quite as funny as the one in Justice League from 2017, and the holiday decorations from the Christmas tree trimming to the winter carnival. The action's decent enough, the end credit animation is nice, the effects look cool, and the 7 deadly sins, aka 7 deadly enemies of man from the comics, that are part of an Eye Savannah gang, have neat designs that fit their personality, like greed has extra arms, gluttony has its mouth be part of its stomach, and lust has a long tongue. So yes, I do like this movie for the superhero and supervillain stuff, but the stuff with Billy as himself and the foster kids didn't quite gel with me. A couple of the foster kids I get, like Mary wanting to get into college yet she doesn't want to leave her foster family, and Eugene being a semi-know-it-all who often gets distracted by playing video games even before starting school, and Freddy being an obsessed geek of superheroes, which somehow makes this film come across as a parody of DC despite the character Shazam being an actual DC superhero, and pointing out many tropes and powers associated with them, occasionally making a joke that I smirk at.
but why I didn't get into the foster kids is because, well, I didn't find them interesting enough, and I didn't get into their characteristics as much. Same thing with Billy, as he's basically self-righteous, a bit selfish, and acts alone, except when his foster friends are being bullied.
But he mostly cares about finding his mother that he lost as a child.
Only to reveal that his mother, after knowing where she is thanks to the foster kids, had moved on as she was 17 when she lost him, figuring that she's unfit to take responsibility of a child, as she's not a good enough parent. Both do come across as understandable, but I wasn't fully invested in them. And of course there's these two bullies who always pick on Freddy even when he, quote-unquote, ruined their car when they hit him on purpose. And every time these two pick on Freddy, I get pretty upset. Yet there is a nice message about sharing the power you're given and the love of friendship and family, something which Billy learns over time than Savannah does, as his father and brother didn't care for him. Although their deaths and those of the company by Savannah and the Sins are enjoyable to witness. And overall the movie is very fine. All the superhero action, effects, and humor is fun and decent when it happens. Yet the rest of it didn't quite hit me. And sure, there's a mid-credit scene with Mr. Mind. I said mind, not mine. That apparently went nowhere and won't even come back. But I didn't care if he's never mentioned again or if he will ever be, as the film without it is alright enough. Also, there's neat foreshadowing for Black Adam as well, even though the outcomes become different, but that's another time. I would have liked it a little more if the foster family and Billy were more interesting, or if there's more of an epic feel to it, especially in its finale. But as such, it's nearly decent. 2.5 plus Bugs Bunnies.
The second DC film, released on December 21st, 2018, was one of my favorite movies of that year, and my opinions on it remain the same, though some things have changed over time. Aquaman.
Director James Wan had done a neat job of making an Aquaman movie based on a character created by Paul Norris and Mort Weisinger, with neat characters, a nice story, and cool effects. I once put this film as my 10th favorite movie of 2018, and looking back on it after only seeing it once in IMAX theaters, I might kick it down the list by one. Why? Because while I enjoyed the effects back then, they are a huge mixed bag nowadays. Most notably with the underwater scenes. The hair texture is pretty off and felt like it would come off the actors' heads, likewise with the capes and some clothes. Yet when the scenery looks dark with little light, it seems to be fine, and when the lighting's a good balance, it looks pretty decent and effective. But when it's too bright or unbalanced, it's very distracting, even if it's trying to be subtle. The only times when the underwater scenes work well is when there's no hair or clothes to render, like with Vulko or Orm. However, the look of the film from the Kingdom of Atlantis to the big underwater battle look colorful and amazing than the underwater scenes in Black Panther Wakanda Forever, or close to those in Avatar The Way of Water. The way Atlantis combines its advanced technology with its past traditions and ruins is pretty neat, considering this film came out 10 months after the first Black Panther film, which is almost similar. Almost. Yet the old Atlantis lies beneath the new kingdom, so at least they didn't replace it. There's also some decent humor, one or two I laughed at. The film does go everywhere, as it's not just the oceans, but also the Sahara Desert, Sicily, Italy, and the Hidden Sea, or the Earth's core, each one having some vibrance or beauty to them. And some sea creature designs, especially the Karathan, look amazing. There's shots that are visually impressive, fine slow motion moments, and some good action throughout, with several one-shot moments of the camera following one or two characters as they fight or escape, making the action easy to follow and presenting some well-made stunts. Yet one other issue I have, aside from the mixed effects, is that there's some aspect ratio changes where it becomes full screen during the movie, usually when it's underwater or there's a big effect scene, or not, and sometimes it cuts back to widescreen when on land. I don't know why this is, as I haven't noticed this in the other DC films, and I'm not sure if it's a choice for the film or is my Blu-ray copy, but whatever the case, it's pretty odd. What isn't odd and makes this film interesting is the story, which has elements of both Hamlet and King Arthur, though very loosely. Arthur Curry, born a half-breed son of Tom Curry, a lighthouse keeper, and Atlanta, the Queen of Atlantis, lives a fine life of saving people, learning the Atlantean ways from Atlantis' advisor Vulko, and spending time with his surface father, as he's known to others as Aquaman, and has a gift of communicating with sea creatures. But in Atlantis, Arthur's half-brother Orm, who lived his whole life in the ocean, rules as king and plans to unite the other undersea kingdoms to wage war against the surface world. And King Nervous' daughter and Princess of Zabel, Mera, tells Arthur to dethrone Orm as he's the true king of Atlantis, being Atlanta's firstborn and to protect the sea and land together as one. Yet Arthur denies it because, he believes, Atlanteans killed her mother, and only agrees after Orm's warning of causing massive tidal waves around the world, bringing trash and warships with them, and for Mera saving his father. Yet Arthur challenges Orm, which Mera saves him from, as she, and Vulko, suggest retrieving Atlas's Triton, that's powerful enough to command the ocean and its creatures, fit for Atlantis' true king, and uses it against Orm. So Arthur and Mera travel to the ends of the earth to find the Triton, which is hidden away in the hidden seas. All while Orm tries to take control of 4 sea kingdoms to become ocean master, and a pirate named David Kane goes after Arthur for revenge of letting his father die during their submarine attack, and as Black Manta with Atlantean armor he reconstructed. Overall, this film is a nice one. Sure, the effects and aspect ratio changes took me out of it once in a while, but I appreciate what the film was doing or going for. It has good shots, well-done visuals, nice bits of humor, some fun action, and an interesting story. It's partly an origin story, yet mainly follows after Justice League, and kept its focus on Aquaman and the underwater world, without interference from the other superheroes. I can't quite say it's one of DC's best films, but it's kind of a moderate favorite of mine. 2.5 plus, or 3 Bugs Bunnies.
And that is it. So thank you for joining me. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Facebook or Twitter, support me on Patreon, and until next time for a new video.